Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Pain, Heart and Home Healing After Loss. I will be really honest with you. I'm kind of speechless today. I'm really humbled by who I have sitting here with me because the company that this man has built has provided me with some of the greatest resources and truly some of the greatest comfort and hope while my husband and I were in the absolute darkest time of my life. My guest on the show today is the CEO and the founder of the company called Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle, Dane Johnson. So, Dane, I'm truly honored to be talking to you today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Emily. It's very nice. I'm humbled as well to be here, and we all have this human life, and we want to do something that matters. And one of the best ways to add value is to be of value to others. So I just want to start with an affirmation that I dedicate this conversation to anyone out there who's sick, who's lost, who feels like there is no hope. Healing is possible. You're not meant to be sick, and you can do this.
I love that. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm blown away. I'm probably going to be like freaking out this whole episode, but we'll get through it. And I definitely, I want to let you talk as much as possible because I could sit here all day and pick your brain and ask you questions. And, I go back to the time where my husband is in a hospital. I'm like, I just want to talk to Dane, like I said that so many times, but I want my listeners to hear you and all of your wisdom that you have, because I'm not being dramatic or over the top when I say that, like your posts, or your CCL's posts, your wisdom, like the company, your coaches that you have on your team, specifically Armand, because Armand was my husband's coach.
Yes,
we're
Armand.
literally like, yes, he's amazing. And gosh, he probably thinks I'm crazy, but it's fine because he got me through. I swear all of those things and him were like literally sometimes my only source of strength as I watched my husband literally battle for his health and his life at one point. And so at a time when we felt completely lost, completely hopeless, and totally clueless, really, CCL was an incredible resource. And I'm honestly not really sure where we would be without it today. So for the people who are listening, and who don't know, I just want to give you an opportunity, Dane, to tell them like what CCL is all about, what you guys do, how you help people.
Yeah.
And if you could throw a little bit of your personal story in there for context, that would be great.
Yeah. So, what's most valuable to understand is, my mission, I think a lot like your mission, Emily, has been pain to purpose, going through something that I never deserved, I never wanted, I never asked for, that my parents didn't have to deal with, that none of my friends had to deal with. And that was a life-threatening battle of ulcerative colitis, then diagnosed Crohn's disease. So I call it Crohn's colitis. I was diagnosed with both at two different times. And I was diagnosed as a young person. I had my first symptoms at 19 years old. What is IBD, inflammatory bowel disease? Two versions is Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Crohn's is more widespread from the mouth to the anus. Ulcerative colitis is more in the colon, so the last 10 feet of your GI tract, the large intestine, colon is where that. And there are variations like pain colitis or microscopic colitis, but this is chronic inflammation in the bowel, which the doctors don't understand what causes it. So they coin this an incurable disease. And some of us have a little bit of this problem where we have it, but it's not that bad. We can just take an anti-inflammatory medication like mesalamine and everything gets better. And other people like myself and Emily's husband have had devastating, life-threatening, severe cases of IBD. It's basically where your body cannot eat and absorb and utilize food. You're constantly in pain. You constantly have to be close to a bathroom. The only thing the doctors can do is suppress your immune system, try to treat an underlying infection, or they just cut you up and cut out part of your intestines, either your small intestine, your colon, to the point where you may need to have a bag. So it can be a bag on your stomach, which if you're lucky, you can reverse that into what's called a J pouch, where they make a new colon for you. And this is what I was going through, these experiences. I was lucky enough that I never did get a surgery. Our team works with hundreds of people who've had the surgeries and needed to get the surgeries. So that's not the end of the world if you've been through that. There's a lot you can still do. And this was happening to me as a young kid. And so, for me, I think even Emily, what you were sharing with me earlier about your experience and everyone out there going through really devastating pain, it can be your purpose. It can be how you become the phoenix from the ashes, from the fire. And that's what it was for me. I was chronically sick for a lot of years, my early 20s, first symptoms at 19. I nearly died of Crohn's colitis complications on my 27th birthday in the hospital. I was, just to give you highlights of what that experience was like, is I was on, multiple biologics, antibiotics for years, prednisone for years. I would go to the bathroom 20, 30 times a day, blood, mucus, urgency. So every toilet looked like a crime scene. I went from 188 pounds to 122 pounds. I lost the ability to walk. I was in a wheelchair for a little while. I was bedridden for 3 months. I was housebound for a year trying to take back my life. And I was told I had to be on medications for the rest of my life, and I had to get my colon removed and have a bag on my stomach. By the time I was about 25, 26, we started having those conversations. And diets didn't work for me. Supplements didn't work for me. Conventional medicine, I was on Remicade, I was on Entyvio, I was on prednisone, immunomodulators like 6-MP, methotrexate. I took antibiotics like Skittles. I took prednisone like Skittles for years. And I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I get a little bump up and then a little bit worse and a little bump up. So it was almost like, for all my stock investors, it was lower highs and lower lows, they call it. And then something finally changed. And what changed is I made a mental and spiritual shift to take what you said, Emily. I could no longer go on living like this. I just couldn't. I had to change my perspective. And maybe you're out there where you've been through so much that you have to change what happiness looks like, how you're experiencing life, and what you perceive that you can do about it. And that was the big change. I remember I walked inside the door and I had to go on this plane trip, and it was terrible. All the shameful things you can imagine. And something snapped inside of me. I had already been in natural medicine school for 2 years. I'd already been trying natural medicine for 4 years and failing, like flatline failing. Gluten-free doesn't work. Rice milk with gluten-free cereal and fasting and make your own bone broth and make your own goat's yogurt. Fail, fail. SCD, fail. Nowhere. And I walked in that door and something snapped in me, and it was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not done living. I'm done being a victim. I'm done relying on some book I read or something that Dr. Google told me, or just hiring another ND who doesn't have Crohn's colitis themselves, doesn't specialize in this. I'm tired of outsourcing the responsibility of being happy and healthy. That's what snapped. I'm done. Listen to this in your head. Repeat it if you believe in it. I'm done outsourcing the responsibility to be happy. Number one is more important, because you can't get healthy till you get happy. Then get healthy. And when that snapped, obvious changes happened in my life. It was just right there the whole time. I'm going to give you a few that you could just, if you're ready to change, think about this. I decided I was only going to eat what I cooked for about 70 days. It's so obvious. Oh, am I carnivore? Am I vegan? Am I this? No. Just make sure you cook it. I don't know if this food's right. I don't know if I believe in the plants, the vegans, the paleo, the carnivore, the mix. I don't know. But I'm only going to eat what I cook. Number two, I'm going to pray morning and night. It didn't matter if I believed in Jesus, Muhammad, God or not, the North Star, Kermit the Frog. It didn't matter, because I needed a place to let go of my pain and ask for more, to train my mind on what I did have. And I do believe in God, and I believe in a higher force. So how could prayer hurt me? How can it hurt? It can't. Can it help? Yes. Everyone listening, can affirmations and just asking for it, or breathing it in, or just even meditation, can it hurt? No. Can it help? Yes. So the whole time it was obvious. I started doing things that could only help and couldn't hurt. But my ego and my discomfort of praying in front of somebody or meditating, it's like, I'm a kid from Virginia. What am I, a yogi now? I don't know anything about meditation. Right? I worked at Papa John's for 5 years. What do I know about meditation? It was my naturopath professor who kept pushing it, and I was just like, and I remember I just had made that affirmation. He was like, Dane, you should be meditating 30 minutes a day. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. Done what? I'm done resisting doing things that could help me and can't hurt. The word possibility, right? Underline that, possibility. That word is so much more powerful than you are giving it credit for. Why aren't you taking action on things that create possibilities and don't hurt? So that was the big change in my life. I stopped blaming the doctor and blaming God and blaming my mom and my dad for what was happening to me. Because when I was younger, I was under the subconscious illusion that things that were not my fault weren't my responsibility. Here's an example, Emily. You go to school and a kid trips you at school. What do? You tell the teacher. You tell the principal. It's their responsibility to discipline the other kid. Someone comes up and robs you. You call the police. It's the police's responsibility. Probably in a good situation. Don't get yourself shot, right? But there's certain times when something happens to you, we've been under this illusion that it's someone else who's going to fix it. The illusion was it's the doctor's responsibility, or it's my mom's because I'm still a teenager. I hadn't grown up to a position yet that I had made a pact with myself that said, when bad things happen that aren't your fault, it's still your responsibility to fix them. You got to change your entire life for something you never asked for or deserved. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I was angry. Why do I have to be gluten-free? Why can't I eat that? Why can't I go there? Why is no one else having to have these bloody bowel movements and this pain and this cramping and urgency? Take that same thing with whatever you're going through. Why did I have this problem with my child? Why did I have this problem with myself? Why is no one else gaining weight like this? Why is no one else getting these skin reactions? It's always easy to point and say it's unfair when other people don't have to deal with things that we have to deal with. But that's the journey of the phoenix through the ashes. Because what's being asked of you is to take your understanding of what you can do and what your life looks like and what success looks like and completely rebuild it.
Yeah.
I want everyone to write this down. Let's move on. I'm going to give you a chance to, help direct this conversation. Write this down, okay? And if you're really serious with me right now and you really want to change your life, I'm not talking about kinda. I'm not talking about just reading another book that might help. You are ready to change your life. I'm going to give you some of the best coaching advice right now, okay? Write this down. You must divorce the life that has led to this point. Not change it. You have to divorce this understanding of what it is to celebrate with your friends. Alcohol, fast food, 3 a.m. And when I say divorce, why? Because every happy experience you had growing up was doing things that are poor for your health. What'd you do on prom night? What'd you do last birthday? What'd you do on your 15th birthday? What'd you do on your 18th birthday? What'd you eat at Christmas? What'd you have for New Year's? What'd you do last New Year's? Did you get drunk? Stay up till 3 a.m? Get some drunk pizza? You have to divorce this experience of this is how I make memories, this is how I socialize, this is how I laugh, by hurting myself. Because that's the American way that I had the divorce, and it took me about 4 years to do it. Is it easy? No, it's really hard. But as you start doing it, it starts to become more natural. It's almost like getting out of an abusive relationship. 6 months later, you're like, what was I thinking? I feel so much better. I'm so much more free. I'm so much happier. I'm never going back. But it took time, right? Those comforts, that experience, that's what it was for me. It was so hard for me to divorce the Subway sandwiches and the pizza, Papa John's and the McDonald's and the Coca-Cola, the beers with the boys, the lifting to get big and swole when it hurt my gut. That was one of the hardest things for me. I like to be big and strong and be in the gym. It was how I kept myself mentally healthy. But my body I could hardly walk. My body couldn't handle that. I had to let the weight go. I had to let the ego go so that I could just focus on healing, so I could rest. Because I was addicted to running and lifting weights and being bigger with less body fat, doing all that stuff, right? We all have our things. Right. So right now, I want everyone just to think about what is it that you want to divorce that has had a grip on your life that is affecting who you want to become or know you need to become in order to create that destiny, that reality. When I made that change, when I made that I'm done being sick. What I'm really saying there is I'm done with this life and I'm done with the way I've been doing it. And I take full 100% responsibility for my health. It is not my doctor's responsibility. It is not my mother's. It is not my father's. It is not God's. It is mine. But I'm going to partner with God through prayer, through purpose, through reading. I'm going to use the divine through meditation, through language, through earth. When I was really healing, Emily, the crazy thing is my day completely changed. It wasn't just the diet and all that. All of a sudden, I'm in bed at 9:30. Don't call me. Phone's off. No one's calling me. Yep. No, I'm not going anywhere. That's when I got real serious. You'll hear it in my voice right now. I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing prayer, doing purpose. I'm reading. I'm going to bed. I'm waking up. I'm making my bed. My house I keep clean because it creates peace in my life. I'm up. I'm in a robe. I'm having a mucosal healing tea. I'm outside getting infrared from the sun, listening to the birds, okay? While I'm reading again, then I'm going to make my own breakfast that I cook with Bob Marley on in the background and the sun coming in. See, by being done, you've got to practice your smile. You've got to walk. Hear what I'm saying? Walk towards a smile. Walk towards a laugh. Action towards an energetic positivity. Not, this is not justice. This should have never happened to me. Now I'm going to wait for someone else to fix it. Then mom or brother or significant other comes and tries to make you feel better because it's not fair. No. I'm accountable for how I feel now. And I start my day with an immense amount of positivity so that all this injustice doesn't weigh me down and keep me sick. And a massive awareness of how you're feeling and how to take action on those emotions, energy and motion. The energy and motion of loneliness, frustration, anger, lack of control, imprisonment. I'm stuck in this prison. I can't get away from the bathroom. I'm stuck in this prison. I can't get these headaches gone, this arthritic pain gone. And if until you get happy, that's why I'm saying that energy, till you get happy, you will continue to struggle to get healthy. Because the energy which you can take action, I'm not going to eat that, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to cook this, I'm not going to go out with my friends on a Friday night and do that. It will weigh you down and you will start to lose everything that made you happy in your old life that you have to divorce. That's the vicious cycle. Because once you start divorcing it, you're like, wait, that's where I got balance. If you don't get an I love you, if you don't get a hug, if you don't get a laugh for X amount of time, the human spirit starts to depress. You see what I'm talking about? That's the awareness. Are you guys getting this? You're getting the awareness right now. I don't care how strong and cool or disciplined you are, the human spirit needs these energies to stay in balance. And if it goes too long without connection, love, words of affirmation, laughter, presence, connection with the earth, your spirit will start to feel the energy of depression. So that's what I say, you got to get happy because now my nervous system's getting dopamine. It's getting excitement. It's getting hope. If I sit and we laugh for hours, you're not thinking about the Cheetos, but you're alone in your house binging Netflix, you're thinking about the Cheetos.
Right.
There's a energy here that's going to help you walk the foggy path of uncertainty because I know how you're feeling right now is uncertain. And that can drive you nuts. And what's your outlet? And if you're reading this, if you're listening right now and you're starting to feel more excited, more confident about changing your life, how did that happen? Just take a step back right now. Wait, why am I feeling better? Did my life change? Did anything change? No. Is my pain down right now? Is my fear down right now? Why? Because the positive energy is going through space and time that your cells are picking up from this podcast. And it's shifting the reality, the perception of what your body and energy feels to be true. That's what you have to do for yourself every day and keep that in balance, especially through the pain. So you have to start your day with happiness. And happiness has synonyms, right? Laughter, love, socialism, curiosity, exploration, music, right? What's positive? Just think about it. And they say, well, what's the perfect morning routine? Whatever makes you feel good. Underline that. Whatever makes you feel good. You see what I'm saying? Wake up to this idea of what actually makes your spirit feel good. Just accept that your spirit has needs. A lot of men struggle with this. Like, you have needs, and they don't have to be devilish needs. You need love. You need laughter. You need real friendship with people you know care for you and you care for them. You need integrity. The spirit thrives on who you think you are. You take action on that, right? That's why you can have a depressed trust fund kid who's addicted to cocaine, because this kid might have no integrity. But you can have a mom with 3 jobs, barely getting by, and doesn't deal with depression and has tons of confidence. Why? Because of the integrity of word and action. The spirit thrives on authenticity, on integrity, of being a person who does what they perceive themselves. They act on who they perceive themselves to be. That's why we feel so bad when we lie or cheat on each other. Because it's a degradation of your soul's contract, what your word is, your bond, right? My word is my bond. Bond's an emotional thing. It's a spiritual thing, a bond, right? The bond you have with a friend, the bond you have with your family, the bond you have with yourself, right? You can't buy these things. Spiritual energies are not for sale. You cannot buy trust. Someone can still be untrustworthy. You give them $1 billion. You cannot buy integrity. You cannot buy love. Someone can pretend to love you. So I think before we even get into all that, it's really important that people understand, until you have this foundation where you can shift your perception of truth. Because truth is, is it a good day or a bad day, Emily? It's perception.
Right.
I might say, how's your day? And you might say, shit. And I go, oh, okay, that's your perception. And tell me more about this perception. And then what does your best friend do when your perception is negative? They help you to try to change it. They listen. Right. So it's not that it's a bad day. You're having a bad day. The perception of this day is bad. And the problem is that's amplified times 10 with chronic sickness, because every day is severe. Every day.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that's long-winded answer. I hope that that gave it to him.
I kind of forgot I was hosting a podcast episode for a second, because I was so drawn into what you were saying. My goodness. And no, but incredible. Everything that you just said. God, I hope everybody is just listening to every word, because I'm telling you that this is what we needed. This is what we needed when my husband got fighting for his life. Like, his hope was just shot. He had no hope. Yeah. Like, I was his hope. And so, and that's another thing that I think is lost in a lot of this that people don't realize is, when you have a loved one who is the one going through the sickness and, the disease and all the pain, and their health is declining, like, it's a lot of pressure. Like, and I'm not saying my husband didn't eventually find it himself, but for me, I had to be everything that you just said. Like, I had to be that for my husband. Yeah. And, because it took him a little while to find it himself, and I was still grieving, I had mentioned to you, a little bit before his health got really, really bad, our daughter had died, and we were still just grieving so heavily. So I was still going through, some really heavy grief, and I was dealing with the effects that the grief was having on my body too. And I was kind of, stumbling through trying to figure out how to get myself healthy again, and then also trying to take care of my husband. And so I just love your story, because it's the ultimate story of hope. It's and that's why I really wanted to have you on here, because that's what my message is all about, is constantly reminding people that we always have a different choice to make. We always have a choice to make. We always have something that we have more control over than we give credit for. We always have a say in something, And of course, every story is different and not all outcomes are the same. But like I mentioned, like, all I needed when my husband was at his sickest was hope, and that's what CCL gave us, and that's
Yeah.
what you start with. You know, you start with talking about getting happy first, like before you get into the nutrition and any other protocols or anything else. You talk about mindset and getting happy, and literally just learning how to be happy. I remember this was a while ago. One of the things I remember was you just saying, like, get out in the sun and find something to be thankful for. And so
Yes.
I tried getting my husband to do that as much as possible. He was really sick. So, but then I started taking over that habit, you know, and I just started doing it for myself, and it was super helpful. And my husband's story is long, and I won't get into all the details, but it started back in 2013 when he actually had to have emergency surgery, taking out
Mm-hmm.
18 inches of his small intestine, because we didn't even know he had Crohn's. We didn't even know what the heck Crohn's was. We were
Mm-hmm.
absolutely clueless about
Mm-hmm.
how to be healthy in general, but specifically what Crohn's was, how it affected you, you know, what it could turn into, and all that. And then up until recently, within the last couple of years, you know, he basically lived what most people would call like a normal life. You know, every so
Mm-hmm.
often he would have like a flare up. So we would go to the hospital, he would get a steroid and send him on his way for a couple of years, you know? And
Yep.
then after our daughter had died, our world came crashing down, and that was the real start of Rick's insane decline. You know,
Mm-hmm.
during this period was also when they diagnosed him with colitis as well. And again, I was so ignorant. Like, in my head, I was like, I didn't put two and two together. Not that I'm not trying to sell myself short. I'm not dumb, but I was so ignorant to what Crohn's and colitis was because nobody was educating us. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that meant like this is getting worse, and now it has also turned into colitis. Like, nobody was explaining it like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I remember one of the biggest things that we learned through all of the coaching, which I really, I really, I didn't know this, or at least I didn't have firsthand experience. I'll say that. Because, like, if you asked me, I'd probably be like, yeah, this totally has an effect. But I never knew it until I saw it with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when Armand started talking to us, and bless his heart for dealing with me so much. Oh my gosh, he was like my counselor during this time. He explained to us that like these unresolved emotional traumas can have
Mm-hmm.
so many negative effects on our physical bodies.
Yeah.
And that sometimes it's more important to focus on the mental and emotional side of things before we even try to adjust the physical, you know, the physical things, or at least it's just as important. Like you said, like,
Yeah, it's
forget
100%
nutrition,
true.
focus on being happy. So
Well,
my question,
yeah.
and you kind of
Mm-hmm.
answered it, but I want to kind of just narrow in on like, how do our emotions are, because that's what a lot of my audience is dealing with: emotional or trauma or past experience, or just stress, just negative emotions in general.
Yeah. How do I get
is that
out?
how is that affecting our physical bodies, and how,
Yeah.
you know, important is it to fix those things?
So, Emily, everyone listening right now, I would say this: you know that stress is making you more sick. If I would say yes or no, true or false, the stress, the anxiety, the turmoil of your thoughts and your perception of truth that you don't want to feel is chronically making you more sick, and whatever that term means for you, mentally, spiritually, or physically sick. Okay? We know it. First, so we're reverse engineering, and we say, well, how do I make sense of how bad it is? Okay? There's not as much juice in that question as how do I make tangible sense of what's happening to me energetically. So we have to make sense of it, and so we can do something about it. When you wake up with negative thoughts, the first perception is, I'm stuck like this. And then we go to the doctor and they want to drug us up for our feelings. Feelings are there, they have to be shifted, okay? So I'm going to give you some truths today about feelings, okay? And I'm going to help you become the most important word you need right now to change your life with everything you're feeling and what has happened to you. That's not your fault. Could easily be unjustified, and you are justified in being angry with, okay? The number one thing is awareness. And we are so undervaluing awareness. I'm going to make sense of this for you. I'm going to put it in layman's terms. I'm going to give you action steps. Start taking your power back from negative feelings. And I'm going to make sense of how feelings, what Emily asked here, how feelings are affecting you so that you have, underline it, awareness when it's happening. You can recognize it and then you can attack it. Okay? So first off, in energy, if I call Emily and I say, Emily, I'm so sorry, the person you love the most just died in a car accident, and she believed me on the phone, she would have a physical reaction to what I enrolled her with to the point where she believed it. She didn't see this person die. She didn't witness it. She hasn't gone to a funeral. She hasn't seen them. I just said it in a manner and on a phone call that it twisted her to believe it. Physical tears, breathing up and down, sympathetic state, cannot sleep, maybe even pain in the body, lost control of your mind, lost control of time. 10 minutes feels like an eternity in the first 10 minutes after that phone call. Some of you are feeling pain right now just as I explain it. Your heart is starting to go up as I explain it because you want to run from this because you know these feelings of extreme pain and anger, and it just brings it up. If I tell you about the past when I almost died and I watched my mom sit there trying to save my life and my ex-girlfriend who I had broken up with sit there and try to save my life after I broke up with her, I will start crying right now. If I go too much into experience about my own pain when I was in a hospital for 6 weeks straight fighting for my life with my whole family looking over me, I will start to feel that pain right now. That's why I stopped acting. I used to be an actor. Because I got hired for a movie right after I healed myself, and then I had to do a role where my wife in the movie died, and I started getting sick again. Because I had to pretend spiritually that I was going through that. And I said, I'm done acting. I'm not doing that to myself anymore. Just a side note, okay? What I'm saying here is what you perceive as true, remember the phone call, what you experience has a physical reaction. The bridge between energy and physical is called the nervous system. And what Emily's talking about is the nervous system. So if I feel stressed, right? You could be stressed because you worked too hard, because you worked out too hard, because you haven't eaten food or you're dehydrated. That's a form of stress. But we could also have stress by me calling Emily and saying someone she loved just passed away. That's a different form of stress. That's a belief system. So if that belief happens, she's going to have a physical reaction. Her and her husband already said the terrible thing that happened and that they did not deserve through both of their health, their physical health, completely off track. Huge changes to their physical health. They can't explain it. We all can't explain it so easily, but we know it's true. Almost all of us, when you're flaring or having a reaction, it's around a very stressful event. You know, right before I almost died, I had just broken up with my 3.5-year-long girlfriend who was helping to take care of me when I was sick. And I don't want to go any farther into it because, right, I don't want to bring that up for myself. But I was in a lot of spiritual pain right before that happened. And I was lost. And I didn't really have a home. I was living all around the world. And it wasn't necessarily a good thing. So that's what I'm saying. Awareness that how energy affects your physical. Now, when you have awareness, you have to start understanding what you can do about it. All right? So you have to realize that truth, that the stress of what I'm perceiving my life to be is a perception. Remember I walked into that door and I said, I'm done with this perception. Because I know it's making me sick. I can't stop myself from getting sick, from my nervous system having experiences from a poor life, but I can wake up and choose to experience things that make me feel the energy of love, happiness, right? Being a part of something. You have to be aware of what positive energy, what's the synonyms of positive, write them down. Laughter, love, connection, hope. Gratitude is the most powerful. Gratitude, belief. I had to condition myself to believe. Okay? So there's a few terms I use here. You have to walk towards a smile energetically. That means you have to take action on things that make you feel good, even when you feel bad or you don't feel like it. Okay? Number one, action. You have to wake up with the intention of saying, I'm going to be depressed unless I wake up and immediately do things that make me feel better. Emily said she started going for walks and seeing the sun, putting her feet in the grass, listening to a podcast. Do you understand right now, the value you're getting from this podcast is not just knowledge, it's the conditioning of positive energy to your spirit. Did you hear me? Did you get that epiphany? It's not what you know, it's how you feel. The benefit of a podcast over and over and over again is it changes your feelings. You're getting dopamine, you're getting hope, and it's going through these speakers, it's going through these electronics to your soul, and you are absorbing this energy, this high vibration, this mana, this love, this excitement, this purity, this possibility, this divine, this godly energy that they bestowed on us through space, through time, and it is nurturing your nervous system. It is nurturing your spirit. That's why you should continue to listen to Emily's podcast. That's why you should wake up and read a book. That's why you should start with a walk every day. It's not what you know. It's how you feel about what's happening in your life. And what you talk about, what you take action on, can shift your feelings. The most powerful way to shift your feeling is an action. You have to walk towards a smile, not talk about smiling. That's why therapy a lot of times doesn't work, because it's just talk. That's why I like EFT tapping. That's why I like EMDR. That's why I like clinical hypnosis. There's an action with the therapy. Actions, okay? You have a thought and you have a feeling. The way to use your thoughts to change your feelings is through action. So I want to feel great, but my spirit's sending me signals of pain, of isolation, of depression. But I don't want to feel this way. So what we do is we bang our head against the wall, stop feeling this way, stop feeling this way, stop feeling this way, stop feeling this way. But that's not an action. You've got to take the poor feeling and act anyways by walking towards something. You can, like here, right now, this is an action. Listening, taking notes, writing. The actions I took, I journaled. When you get in the Shield program, you get a healing journal. You fill that out. That is an action, an energetic action of being accountable, of being self-empowered, of being in control. That's what it is. That's why I have it. That's why I ask every member to do it. You need to practice. You need to condition. We realize that we need to go for a run 4 days a week to get in shape, but you think you don't need to condition your brain 4 to 5 days a week. Everything's the exact same in life. It's universal law. If you want to have a sharp mind that can defend yourself against anxiety and depression, if you're feeling depression and you don't want to feel depression anymore or be able to defend against it, you have to have conditioning. You have to take daily action, and you have to be aware, underline, aware of what energy makes you feel good and what energy makes you feel bad. And when you become more of a black belt of this and you say, Dane, what's the perfect thing to do in the morning? I'm going to tell you, whatever makes you feel good. Because once you have awareness and once you have repetitions, you're going to wake up and say, that walk's going to make me feel good. Nope. That sauna is going to make me feel good. Nope. That love is going to make me feel good. Nope. That laughter and sitting on the couch and taking an hour in the morning is going to make me feel good. You just become aware, and you can act in real time on what the signals are. The last thing you have to do is you have to change your language. Here's a big one. It's called metacognition. I learned this from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He taught me that when you have a feeling, most of us, especially those who've been chronically in pain, identify with the feeling as self. Meaning, if I constantly have the feeling of depression, I am a depressed person. So we identify with it. And that's when we become victims. And that's when we go on the medications, and that's when everything, because we're stuck. We can't get out. We're in this prison, this emotional, spiritual prison. And so what happens is we start, without even knowing it, we enroll everyone we know in this identity. And because we're ashamed of the identity, we actually get away from everyone. How many times have you said to someone when you're in a bad place, you don't want to bother them with your problems? Someone calls you, how are you? And you refrain from saying too much because you don't want to bother them. Because you're not able to figure out how you feel yourself. And so other times we're so sick, we just put it on our mothers, we put it on our sisters, we put it on our brothers, we put it on our significant other, you know? And so, but you know you're kind of overwhelming them because they have their own stuff, and we all have to be accountable for our own feelings. So metacognition is to be aware of one's feelings but not identify with them. And the way you do that is you first change your language and you don't let your feelings decide your actions. So it's I am sick versus I'm feeling sick. See, if I go to my significant other and say, how's your day going? It's saying not bad, or you always want to start with good. Fake it till you make it if you have to. Start with positivity. Good. I'm feeling a little sick, but I'm going to do A, B, and C about it. But if I identified as a sick person, now your significant other is even scared to ask you how you are because you've already told them 1,000 times you're a sick person. Stop asking me how I am. How do you think I am? Hear the energy, hear the negativity. Does this remind you of yourself? How do you think I am in your head? What do you mean, how am I? The same. I don't know. Yesterday was terrible. Today I'm bad, I guess. Right? The negativity in it. And so we need to stop identifying with it. Like, just because I feel angry or I feel lonely doesn't mean I'm actually alone. Or I'm a person who identifies with being someone no one likes. Okay, so you have to become aware. Remember that word I said, underline aware, and then change how you identify self versus feelings. So that gave me power because now I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling sick. I look in the mirror. I'm 50 pounds underweight. I can't walk. I'm feeling all these ways, but I'm still me. I'm still the guy who could go for a run. I'm still the guy who weighed 50 pounds. I'm still me. Don't give up your identity in this journey. And if you want to believe, okay, through awareness, you now have some more control. Then you want to journal. Then you want to change your language. You want to take actions. Thought will not change how you feel. Only actions will. If you are feeling different from this podcast, that is exactly what we're talking about. You are taking an action by reading, by listening, by learning, by writing, by telling, by calling, by walking towards a smile. Okay, you do that, your life will completely start, your mind will start to change, and now your nervous system, right? The universal law teaches us for one thing to be true, its opposite must be true. If you can get chronically sick from stress, what can happen when you chronically get grateful and happy? So you've got to decide. It's like if you were 40 pounds overweight, you're like, I'm done. I'm going to get on that treadmill. What's harder, the treadmill or the mental exercises? For a lot of us, it's the mental exercises. Ironically, it's calling up your friends and saying, I love you. It's the awareness of what feels good. You know what feels good? Being of value to others. That's why I built the company, because one of the things I could do is I could get out of my own pain. I almost died of this disease. It took over most of my 20s. And now I got to help other people who were in the same box I was in. But then now I had a community. Now I had social. Now I had someone who could relate with me. I got value out of it. You want to feel better? You want to have more confidence in life? Be of more value to others. You want to build legacy? You want to be of value to others. Emily said she built this podcast because she had to do something with the pain. So what did she decide to do? Be of value to others. You want to make more money? Be more value of others. You want to have more spiritual love and confidence and self-worth? Be more value to others. You want to have more friends, be more social, be more connected, be more value to others. You want to feel confident, you want to feel valuable, you have to be value to others. The most valuable person in the world is the person who has the most value to others. It's not self. It's about others. That's the whole trick of this game. So when you're sitting here and you're depressed and all that, you now have awareness. I got to change my language. Stop telling me what you need. Tell me what you want. Okay? Those who say they can and those who say they can't are both usually right. Stop telling me what you can't do and start telling me what's possible. Remember that word, possibilities, is so powerful. Get aware of what's pulling you down. Is that conversation? Is that person? Is that TV show? Is that bedtime routine? Is that alcohol or those Cheetos? What is giving you that negative energy? And get vicious about eliminating the negative energy and run towards a smile. Run towards laughter. Run towards a dance. Put your hands in the air and stop getting shameful to do it. You are powerful. Stop letting the world make you small. Stand tall, put your hands up, let go of the insecurities. You can't get past this without discomfort. Okay? Discomfort is growth. There's no way to grow in life without discomfort. If the answer was comfortable, you would have already done it.
Yeah.
Okay, write that down. If the answer was comfortable, this is how I get myself to take action when I'm really uncomfortable. If the answer was comfortable, I would have already thought it and done it. The answer is obviously uncomfortable. Pull the trigger. Make a deal with yourself. If it's too big, being gluten-free and alcohol-free was too big for me. You know, South Carolina boy, Virginia boy. I didn't ask for this disease. It was, I'm not going to do this for a month. And then how do I do that? I journal, because now I have more control. Day one, and I'm going to take 5 minutes a day. Dr. Dane's going to see Dane 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes at night for 30 days straight. And all of a sudden, I now gave myself energetic control. Now my perception is, and maybe this conversation, right? Nothing's changed in your life. We're only on a podcast.
Right.
Is this podcast changing your perception of what is true, what is possible? Are you starting to feel more hopeful? Is the answer starting to feel more obtainable? Are you starting to feel more possibilities of what you can do in your life and how you will serve others? Is the idea of how you can be connected to God and use God's will or God's energy and health to manifest what you want in life becoming more of a reality? What is true is the vibration. What is true is how we're feeling. Truth is a perspective. That's it. Happy people just figured it out. Happy people just, it's like being a 10-year-old. I just have to create. Look at little kids. My 4-year-old, it comes up with a new game in his head every 5 seconds. You just have to create a reality at which life is beautiful. And that's hard. And it's just like getting on a treadmill.
Yeah.
You got to get up and you got to go. And what did I say? I really want to put an underlying on this. How? You balance your life. It's not what you know, it's what you feel. Most of us know enough. What do we hear? What do we learn about Forrest Gump? Stupid is, stupid does, sir. Life's like a box of chocolates. It's the beautiful thing about that movie is success was always so simple that a man who was on the spectrum could achieve the impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew what he loved and he knew what he wanted and he was willing, even dumbfounded willing sometimes, to go to war or chase a girl who didn't want to be chased, right? It was, but he knew what he cared for and he knew, and so he was able to change his perspective, you know, Mama said. And so maybe you can just bring it down in your head a little bit. Maybe you're overanalyzing. And maybe you can just look at the mountains and look at the stars and look at the sun and just taste the air, the breath, and just get present. Just look at what you have. That's what changed. I got happy because I realized I would rather have this disease. Well, you want to hear the perspective? Here's an exercise I did in my head that really helped me. Would I rather my mom get this or me? Me, give it to me. I'd rather my dad get this or me. I'd rather my sons get this or me. Give it to me. Give it to me. How powerful, how good does that feel? Do you feel more value now? Give it to me. Don't give it to them. Do you want to give this to those you love? So let your spirit sing in this journey because it's a foggy journey. It's not easy. It's hard. That's what life is. Anything worth having is hard. But as you go through and as you get your power back, you will have a value you can give to everyone you love. See, I'm able to take care of my children and give them an environment where their chance of getting IBD is so minimal. And if they ever did get IBD, right, they will be empowered because I raised them with the principles to protect themselves. So through my pain, I'm able to give probably the single biggest attribute I would want to give to my children 8 years ago when I was chronically sick is the ability to protect themselves against this disease. Like if you'd ask me anything, Dane, is it worth it to go through this to make sure your kids don't get it? Yeah, hell yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that's perspective.
Yeah.
It's not what's true. What do you want to be true? Just create it. You can be a 5-year-old with it. Why? Who says so? Do you want to identify as depressed? Do you want to identify as an IBD patient? Do you want to identify as a lonely person? Yeah, but Dane, all my evidence is to the contrary. Then start building a new house, a new spiritual house of truth. And it takes action. There's a treadmill, there's a hill, there's fog on the road. There's uncertainty. There's ups and downs. Are you still game? And what are you going to do to stay on the hill? Balance, the conditioning, the consistent effort and ability to go somewhere and do something. Why I started my day with reading and going outside and prayer and purpose is because it gave me spiritual gasoline to run on in case something bad happened the rest of the day. Like when I was stuck on 5 milligrams of prednisone and I couldn't get rid of that last blood and I was still having diarrhea and I was like 4 to 6 bowel movements, it was like months. And I was having like 1,200 calories a day and I weighed 147 pounds and I wasn't willing to eat more because my symptoms weren't gone yet. And I was stuck. I was like at this stagnant place and I was still housebound. And so I'm like 40 pounds underweight. I'm having 4 bowel movements a day, still having blood, still having mucus, still getting some pain. I can't get off the last 5 milligrams of prednisone. It's like if I didn't start my day with like feeling my day was moving forward, that's when I was in natural medicine school. That's when I was reading 4 hours a day, not 2, because I knew I needed that extra spiritual energy. Because one of the things you have to be aware of is when you're sick, the way your spirit shines is feeling like your life is still moving forward. So that whole year I was studying natural medicine. I knew I was going to become a natural medicine practitioner. I knew I wasn't going to be doing all the acting and stuff like that. I knew I was done. After that movie, I was done. Right? So it is like, what are you working on? What is your spirit doing? How are you serving? Right? While you're feeling like you're stuck somewhere in life. Always have something, because see, that's what the spirit needs. The spirit needs movement. We need movement in life. We need something we're obtaining. We are winning. If you're losing in one area, you have to have somewhere you're winning. I was winning as a natural medicine practitioner. I was winning in understanding mitochondria energy and cellular detox and Th1, Th2 cytokines. Holy crap, do you see what I learned today? Yeah, your symptoms aren't any better. I know, but I think I finally understand. Why did the doctors teach me what a cytokine was? Like, I've been taking these TNF-alpha blockers for years. Why don't we talk about TNF-alpha? And so it was like I still felt some dopamine, some excitement about me moving. And I learned how to garden. See, you got to get creative. The answers are there. It's like all of a sudden I'm taking care of 100 plants, and something else I enrolled myself in to help me through this. It's not that I don't feel. Footnote, this is so important. I just thought of it. I have to say it to you guys. You have to realize that everyone feels lonely, and everyone feels the energy of pain. Everyone feels the energy of fear. Everyone feels the energy of what if I don't make it? Everyone feels the energy of what if this doesn't go right? We all feel it. Every president, every great person that was read a book on felt the same energies you're feeling. It's not the energy, it's not the negative feelings that's unique. They're actually the same. We all feel them. Don't think how you feel your negativity is unique. I know that might hit not right for some of you. You're like, no, Dane, you don't understand. I'm saying I get that you have your unique life, but the energy of it, the negative feeling of it, everyone has felt that energy, that adjective. Okay, maybe at a not the same way, but it's just a feeling. And so success is action despite the feeling. Okay, so what I'm doing right now as I do this, I'm showing you how I was able to take my power back, take my mind back, to get happy before I got healthy. And what you're seeing is me giving you metaphor after metaphor after metaphor and saying things with strong vibration and strong energy, because that's the conditioning. A lot of what I'm saying is very repetitive only. It's just shades different, because I'm conditioning for your spirit right now. Even listening to this over and over again. My wife always says to me, Dane, why do you like listening to so many books on manifestation? They say the same thing over and over again. I say, because it's not about what they're saying. It's the conditioning of it. Yeah. You want to change your life? Like, just try it. Just you can just the book after book after book. It's all the same concepts. It's the repetition. It's like church. You've heard and read the gospel. Great. It's why do we go to church once a week? Because it's the conditioning of the spirit. The spirit is like, you're never done, because it's balance. It's not about what you know. It's about balance. And what I'm giving you right now, see, if this podcast changed your life, and I ask you to repeat what I said, you probably can't even say what I said, but you just know how it made you feel. You're like, oh, there was some part that I can't say like he said it. You'll have to listen to it yourself, right? You'll have to listen to it yourself. What it is that made sense, that click, that went from my mind down to my spirit, and it ignited something, and it made me feel better. It made me feel hopeful. Feelings. You see how many times I've said feel in this podcast? Like, I don't know, 150. So it's the conditioning. I'm saying feeling over and over again because I'm building the conditioning of awareness. I'm teaching you and sharing with you how to get aware and a handle of this monster of energy and motion that is suffocating your life and your perception of truth.
Yeah.
So what do you do with this? Wake up and take action on things that make you feel better. You need to be, I would say, read podcasts, go outside, get connected to the earth. God's earth already does a lot of this for us. Talk about it. If you want to get great at something, take what you learned and go teach somebody else. The beautiful thing about being a teacher in this life is it instills it within you. You don't really know something unless you can teach it. So if you wrote some stuff down and you really like it, I want you to go talk to your significant other, your best friend, or your mom or dad, and I want you to teach them and just see what they think and have a conversation about it back and forth. And you're going to have some more awareness. Yeah. And then if they're giving you a negative energy or like rolling their eyes at you, just get aware. That's an energy coming at you. Okay? And last point I want to say about energy, your last little hack I'm going to give you on this. There's only two ways to defend against negative energy, right? Someone coming at you, things happening in life, your results aren't there. You can either walk away from it or you can try to change it with your own energy. If you try to change energy with your own energy, it's taxing. Like if you're sitting there with a negative person and they're bad and they're just going over and they're not changing, you're going to get fed up and you're going to feel exhausted because it's taxing on you to try to change someone else's energy. So the best thing you can do is if you're not around someone who's really in your life is just get away from it for a while until your cup is filled and just look for it. If you talk to someone about this and they're rolling their eyes at you, it's probably best just to stop the conversation, say nice things, and go talk to somebody else who can get in a positive energy with you. You want someone to play ping pong of positivity with you. If you try to bring positivity to someone and they're in the mud with it, you're like, dude, play with me. You get the point? It doesn't matter what you think. It's the energy. Like, let's get hype. Let's get excited. Let's give each other some dopamine. Your best friend in the world is the person who consistently and aggressively can give you the best energy. Think about it. Who's your best friend, Emily?
Probably my sister.
How often does she give you positive energy or make you laugh or bring you up? Probably the most often and the highest amount.
Always.
That's what a best friend is. It's like, I don't have a best friend. Well, if you want more friends, start bringing positivity with them and ping pong with them. Say, hey, here you go. The day's great. This is what's good. This is what I'm excited about. This is what I'm laughing. What are you going to say about it? And if someone gives it back to you, you're like, oh, look, a ping pong partner of positivity. I love this person. I love talking to this person. They love talking to you. And you guys are best friends, like the Step Brother movie, right? Do we just become best friends?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. See, we can joke about this. We can make it light. We can make it simple. We can make it childlike. Okay. Just realize the beauty. You're not trying to make the wave. You're trying to ride the wave. But until you can, do some mental understanding of how the wave moves, you can't ride it. Like Matthew McConaughey is great like that. You got to ride the wave, man.
Yeah.
Right?
You sound just like him when you say that too.
Yeah, right? He's just
great.
He's just a little drawn back, ready to go, man. Life's easy. Green lights. So you see, he said green light, red light. He's trying to. So now all I'm showing you now is awareness. If you really said one thing about this podcast, it's awareness, and it's how to simplify it in a way where you can make it tangible and then take action on it. So I would say, re-listen to this, take some notes on it, but when you do it, it's change your language, now take action on it. Go do it, and then just scale yourself. One of my favorite things is just 1 out of 10. What was my happiness level today? 1 out of 10. What was my anger? What was my depression? Because now it's just awareness. We so undervalue awareness. Just write. If your depression was an 8 out of 10, just keep writing it each day and take action on the energies we talked about and see if you can get it to a 5. If you can get it to a 5, can you get it to a 4? If you can get it to a 4, can you get it to a 2? Yeah, sure, right? It's only 20% difference.
Yeah.
Just keep tweaking.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Keep tweaking, keep moving. Green lights. So, I think, we'd spend a lot of time on mine, and I hope that's what will help most people. But, life is not always fair and easy, but we can turn lemons into lemonade. We can be a phoenix out of the ashes. And the worst thing that ever happened to you can become the best thing that ever happened to you if you turn pain to purpose. And I just don't find many people who have great purpose in this life who didn't have great pain. It's
Yeah.
really hard. Like you can't, like maybe that's a gift, right? This is a hard one I would request of you guys, but can you find a gift in all this? Can you find a gift?
Right.
And Crohn's colitis was the worst thing that ever happened to me. It nearly killed me. And now I've helped thousands of people around the world take back their life from IBD. I did a testimony right before this with a man who's avoided a surgery and now has 1 to 2 normal bowel movements a day for the first time in 6 years. And it was,
Wow.
and it's just, that couldn't have happened if I hadn't gone through that pain.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
your pain is a recipe to potentially your greatest life and what you can give to everyone you love and the world. And focus on that perspective because it's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And fast forward to today, like for you, you shared little bits of your story and you were literally on that like brink of death. And today you are incredibly healthy and you're married and I love your wife. She's for whoever doesn't know, she's an influencer. And she's just the
She's a sweetheart.
sweetest woman. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. You have
I got
healthy
lucky.
children, this incredible business that is helping so many people take their life back. Like it's the ultimate story of turning, your pain into purpose. And one of the phrases I love that you use the most is you became the CEO of your own health. And that embodies physical, mental, emotional. It's everything. It wasn't just Crohn's colitis. It was all aspects of life. And I love that you talk so much about not just the physical side of things, because that is what is lacking. And that is the unawareness that I think people, they don't have. They don't see the connection. They don't see the relevance and they don't prioritize it. And so I'm so glad that we spent so much time talking about that. And you should definitely be a motivational speaker at some point in your life because I mean, I love listening to you. And,
Thank you, Emily. Thank you. It's everyone,
like
just make it tangible.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I know that feeling, and I don't know, I feel gripped to try to punch that in. I think I've done it a ton here, 100 times, but make it tangible. Make it make sense to you. Make it something that you feel like you can manipulate. The reason why we're losing it is just, it feels like we're trying to catch air. It's in here. You just can't. What do you do? You know it's here. Stress matters. This energy matters. It's real. You see it every day, but make it something you feel like you can manipulate and you can affect. And you will transform into your most powerful self, and then you'll be grateful because maybe like we all just want to become the best version of ourselves. If you could just choose, you can't feel strong unless you know what it's like to feel weak. You can't feel loved unless you know what it's like to feel unloved. You can't feel healthy unless you feel like you know what it's like to feel like unhealthy, right? It's the law of perspective. Black is not real without white. And now that you're here, use that truth and become that self and take that power that's given to you because you went through that journey. You walked this road and you didn't know how long it was and it was foggy and you walked it. And life is a big walk and you're never there. You're always on a journey. You're always learning. But the benefit of that, the perspective of that, is that means you can always ask for more. You can always create another adventure. You can always find another thing to be excited about. And if you don't learn how to do that now, how are you going to do that when you're 80?
Yeah.
What's there to look forward to? You got to learn how to be creative. You got to keep that childlike vision up. And then when you have that foundation, now you can say, how do I deal with this H. pylori, these parasites, this candida? I get curious about liver cleanses and maybe doing enemas or how to clear out my skin and eczema and rebuild my microbiome and how to build up mitochondria and increase my natural energy levels and swap out toxins in my house or go figure out how to make more money and get that job and build that business and add that value to the world and serve higher purposes in your own selfish desires and help raise healthy children that can change the world in 2040 and really just have the best life, right? How are you going to have the best life without adversity? Think about it. See, I love that perspective. Yeah. The foundation of my success is perspective. And you can do it. It's make it bite-sized. If it's overwhelming, simplify it. Do less. You have time. We're not talking about, oh, I have to get healed in 2 months. We're talking about being healed for the rest of your life. Does that mean you're walking on water and you'll never have symptoms? No, but you're going to have the foundation to protect your health, right? This is not the walk on water program. This is SHIELD, your ability to defend against adversity. This is not, I'm never going to deal with anything. That's your anxiety talking to you that I never have to deal with anything. Of course, you're human. I'm human. All right? We're all not perfect. But the only way I can serve you is through my experiences. And the reason why a lot of times I don't, just to say it out loud, I think a lot of times we feel like our doctors can't serve us because they haven't had any of those experiences. Yeah. You're talking to someone who's never had it. You're talking to someone who's never experienced what it's really like. They can't connect. So you get a pill, but you have you have no community. You have no place to condition how I feel and grow, right? Imagine trying to do that anywhere else. Imagine if you and your husband were the only people married in this world. Oh, how hard would that be? Yeah. But you're able to relate with other people who are married and go, oh, yeah, this is normal, right? Right. So thanks. I could keep going on and on. It gets me fired up. But thanks, Emily. Thanks for having me on. And everybody, just you can do it. Healing is possible. Be the CEO of your health. Sending love.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Like I said at the beginning, I am truly, truly humbled and so grateful to you, like from the bottom of my heart. Like, I just want to say thank you because, thank you for committing your life, like literally to this and making it your life's work to make sure that people specifically with Crohn's and colitis, but in all areas of life that need healing, like know that they can heal. And they can live a normal life and that there is hope for them, because I firmly believe that it wasn't just medicine and drugs that saved my husband's life. I firmly believe it was knowing that there was hope that he could get better that brought him back to life. So from the bottom of my heart, like, thank you so much. I really, really can't thank you enough.
You're very welcome, Emily. Sending you love. God bless. Yeah. Happy healing, everybody. Grateful to be here.
Thank you. All right, well, that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this incredible episode with Dane. Don't forget to subscribe for more episodes just like this one. I can't wait to chat with you all again really soon. Signing off for now, your hope dealer, Emmy Smaz.